Welcome to BSc second students in semester 4th, and in this we are going to study the paper 7th and paper 8th. The paper 2nd is concerning with the reproductive biology. So in this there are three topics. First one is the functional anatomy of female reproduction, then functional anatomy of male reproduction, and third one is the reproductive health. So amongst these three topics, first one is the functional anatomy of female reproduction. So in this, first one is the outline and histological structure of female reproductive system in rat. We are going to study both, that is rat and the human being. So first we say about the rat. In rat the sexes are separate. That means the male and female animals can be identified by the sexual dimorphic characters shown by the individuals. That means we can differentiate the male and female individuals. Then the female reproductive cycle in different groups of vertebrates, the pattern of ovarian cycle and breeding behavior in relation to season are variable. म्हणजे ही जी मॅमल्स आहेत जनरली त्याच्यामध्ये ओव्हेरियन सायकल असते, दॅट इज कॉल्ड ॲजली मंथली पिरियड्स. That can be differentiated into two: estrous cycle and menstrual cycle. In rat, there is a estrous cycle, and in this or during this estrous cycle, the female is physiologically and psychologically conditioned to receive male, and there are structural changes suitable for breeding behavior in the female reproductive tract. That means there are changes not only the physiologically, and there is also psychologically changed or prepared. The cycle is called estrous cycles. यालाच म्हणायचं estrous cycle. The animals exhibiting it are seasonal breeders. आणि ही जी estrous cycle आहे ही काय आहेत, seasonal breeders आहेत. And ovulation and receptivity coincides with each other. म्हणजे त्यालाच ओव्ह्युलेशन म्हणायचं, जिथं एग तयार होते ओव्हरीमध्ये, अँड दॅट इज रिलीज्ड इन टू दी uterus. Now we will see the female reproductive system in rat. म्हणजे फिमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह सिस्टीममध्ये काय काय येते. दी फिमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव्ह सिस्टीम कन्सिस्ट ऑफ, त्याच्यामध्ये काय काय आहेत. फर्स्ट वन इज दी पेअर ऑफ ओव्हरीज, सेकंड अ पेअर ऑफ ओव्हिडक्ट्स, थर्ड अ पेअर ऑफ युटेराय, फोर्थ vagina, and last one is the teats. So first one is the ovaries. The ovaries are small. The ovaries कसे आहेत बघा. These are small, paired, pinkish. दिसाला कलर कसा आहे, पिंक आहे. राउंडेड ऑर्गन्स, आणि ही कुठं आहेत, दे लाय इन दी ॲबडोमिनल कॅव्हिटी. कुठल्या ॲबडोमिनल कॅव्हिटीमध्ये, ventrolateral to the kidneys. There are two ovaries in the female rat. Each ovary gives a blistered appearance when ripe. Ripe मध्ये ज्या वेळेला मॅच्युअर होते, that is called as the ripe. This appearance is due to presence of ripe Graafian follicles containing ova. Each ovary is suspended in the abdomen by a broad fold of peritoneum called mesotherium. जी त्या ओव्हरीच्या वरचं जी कवरिंग आहे त्याला म्हणायचं मिसोहेरियम. फॅट ऑफन कवर्स दी सरफेस ऑफ दी ओव्हरी. ओव्हरीच्या वरती कोण कवर केलेला आहे? दॅट इज दी फॅट. Each ovary is enclosed in a tough transparent capsule that is called as the bursa ovarica. त्यालाच म्हणायचं bursa ovarica. Or it is also called as perioharium sac. Perioharium sac. It is continuous with the mesotherium. The surface of each ovary shows several small rounded semi-transparent projections called ovarian or Graafian follicles. The ripe Graafian follicle migrates to the surface, then ruptures and releases the contained ovum. This act is known as ovulation. म्हणजे त्या ओव्हरीमध्ये अंड तयार होऊन जे बाहेर येतं दॅट इज ओहममध्ये. दॅट प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड ओव्ह्युलेशन. देन सेकंड वन इज दी ओव्हिडक्ट्स. These are 2 in number, that is corresponding to the 2 ovaries. जी ओव्हरीपासून जी खाली आलेला आहे त्याला म्हणायचं ओव्हिडक्ट. Each oviduct shows 2 regions. 2 भाग आहेत त्याला. एक anterior and second one is the posterior. Anterior is the narrow and looped region which is called as the fallopian tube, and second one is the posterior which is wider and it is called as the uterus. म्हणजे पुढच्या बाजूला आहे त्याला फॅलोपियन ट्यूब म्हणायचं आणि खाली जी मोठा आहे त्याला म्हणायचं युटेरस. The fallopian tube is less than 2.5 in length and it is coiled. It is lined by ciliated epithelium. त्याच्यात लाइनिंग कशाचं आहे? सिलेटेड epithelium. It has at its anterior end a small funnel opening. सुरुवातीला एक फनेल शेपचं ओपनिंग आहे. That opening is called as the ostium or infundibulum. The ostium receive the ova from the ovary. कुठून येते ओहा? ओव्हरीपासून येते. That is also called as the gate or mouth of the uterus. The next part, that is the uteri. There are 2 uteri present in the female reproductive system of rat. The fallopian tubes lead into a broad, thick-walled parts called uteri. Each uterus is highly vascular and distensible. म्हणजे it is made up of highly muscles. The 2 uteri, one from each side, approach each other and join to form a median muscular passage called vagina. The uterus of this type is often called as the uterus डुपल्स. ह्या पद्धतीच्या युटेरसला काय म्हणायचं? डुपल्स म्हणायचं. देन नेक्स्ट वन इज दी vagina. The vagina lies ventral to the rectum but dorsal to the urethra. The vagina runs straight backwards and opens to the exterior by the vaginal orifice or genital aperture or vulva. The opening of vagina lies immediately posterior to the opening of the urethra. The vagina and urethra together form a short common passage called the vestibule. The vagina remains closed by a membrane called hymen until the beginning of puberty. Then last part of the system is teats. There are small outgrowths on the ventral side of the trunk. The teats are of about 6 pairs. किती आहेत टोटली 6 pairs आहेत त्याच्यातली जी 3 pairs आहेत they are located on thorax and 3 pairs on the abdomen. The maximum gap occurs between the third thoracic and the first abdominal pairs. They enlarge at puberty and become conspicuous during pregnancy and lactation. The mammary glands embedded in the skin open on the teats by minute pores. They start secreting milk for nourishment of young ones after the birth of the young ones. Now you see here the figure of female reproductive system of rat. That is, first one is the ovary. These are paired which are located on left and right. From these ovaries, the oviduct arises, and this oviduct can be differentiated into two. The anterior one is the fallopian tube, which is narrow, and posterior one is called uterus, which is wide. And these two oviducts unite to form a common passage which is called as the vagina, and this vagina opens outside by a opening called as the vulva.